Welcome to the show, everyone. I wrote this down before I came on today. If you're absolutely gonna love the color blue by the time that we're done with this segment. If you're on Facebook, because everybody can go onto Facebook and they can put in Networking Arizona and watch us in here doing the show live. Or if you go there afterwards, you're gonna see a ton of blue in here right now, and it happens to be my favorite color too. It happens to be my favorite color.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I have with me Teresa Kiernan, and she is with DRYLUX Restoration. Welcome back to the show. You've been coming on quite a bit. It's starting to get to be your time of year around here. We have a little bit of rain out there. First of all, I want you to talk a little bit about DRYLUX, how long they've been around, and let me just say something, people. This is the kind of thing that it's not like I know you might need it this second. You might know somebody that might, but it is the kind of thing that you put in your phone and have this number in your phone under reputable restoration company.
Correct. Right.
Absolutely. Put that up taller, higher so I can hear her. So
I'm not sure.
there you go.
Is
There
on?
it is. Yeah, it's on.
There
So
we go.
let's talk a little bit about DRYLUX, how long they've been around, what makes them so reputable.
And thank you, Carol. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you like blue.
I do.
That's your favorite color. That's awesome because it's a great month to be blue in blue. Water.
Thank you. Is
Green
it?
month.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
She'll talk about that another time.
I will.
Mhm.
With DRYLUX Restoration has been around now for 18 years, located in Gilbert. So we are a full service restoration company, and I feel what makes DRYLUX stand out from the rest is the personal, the prompt care, the quality that comes with the company itself. And I have a good example of that, which we can talk about in a little bit. We were talking about a little bit a few seconds ago. But it's the personal touch that DRYLUX brings to the community when there's a disaster, because you never know. You do not know. And we are 24/7. We are 7 days a week. So if you call, we do answer. I also answer. But we are there for the customers. We're there for the consumers. We are also there for commercial companies as well. And with that full service touch from start to finish makes such a difference when there's a disaster in your home, because it's your space.
Oh, at
And your
home or
space
office,
is
it doesn't matter.
being, and
Ruined.
by blue.
Well,
Or
no,
in
not
some
ruined
cases,
by blue.
black.
Yeah, by blue. Okay,
It's-
what you mean by that? I'm gonna just
Reiterate
make that.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna make this right. So, not ruined, but because of water is blue, that's what she means by
Right.
that. Black is fire, right?
Or mold.
Or mold is blue.
No, black.
Black.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
mold's
thought it was green.
Mold is, you're gonna see a lot of black with mold. If you were to look up, and
You know
I'm
what?
sure
You're right.
depending
I've
on the
seen
stages,
black before. I
yeah.
know what that is.
It's, and some people see something on a wall and kind of like dust it. If you were to take a candle, for instance, and
Mhm.
have it, but mold is a form of green. You can see it just like a trace of black,
Mhm.
or you can see some spots, but there is green mold as well. You're gonna see that in the refrigerator.
Well, you know, when you see mold, I don't care if it's
That is so-
where it is. It's not good.
But-
This is a thing.
Yeah, but it goes in stages, but definitely.
Now, what I want to talk about is, first of all, the fact that it's been around for 18 years. And what they want is when something goes wrong, they want you to think of DRYLUX. That's what you've been trying to do, is get that word out for
Right.
people to know what it is, especially for the fact that we are coming up to monsoon season. It's around the corner here. We got a little bit of rain today. And the fact what happens is that we have so little rain that when it rains, it's like a tremendous ordeal, not only for us to be like so excited that it's raining, but for our homes and our roofs and other things that get damaged because they're not used to the rain.
Correct, and you might not notice that there is some form of damage. And also tying to that too, we're in the season where air conditioning, to where now's the time to where you might have to call out that company, because they come out and do the service checks, everybody's gonna be hit with that with, you know.
Right, you turn on your air
you need-
conditioner and guess what happens?
Right.
Something bad.
Something bad might happen with the air, but it also could tie in with something to do with water and or a line to where when you have that company come out, you know, there's something else, and that's where, you know, they're gonna say, well,
I remember, that happened
we
to me
need to
one time.
yeah, you need to contact, you know, a restoration company, you know, because this needs to be done, this needs to be done, or they're actually show where that damage is.
Now, I wanna talk about them. They are located in Gilbert, but they work statewide. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They bring quality, they bring experience. They bring it from start to finish. With them, they also put in their heart to it because they know what you're going through. They do free in-home estimates. They do both residential and commercial. Put this number in your phone under reputable restoration company. It's 602-881-1398. It's DRYLUX, DRYLUX together.com. I do also want to say, you're going to see that there are other phone numbers out here, and you can also contact, you know, Teresa if you want, and her number is 480-750-8220, extension 220. Before we go to a break, one of the things I want them to know about you is your background, just a little bit, and then we can tie it back in when we come back. Go ahead.
So my background, I was in insurance prior to coming on board with DRYLUX. So I am also still a licensed insurance agent, which for me it was a very, I think an advantage in many ways, because I also understand the flip side when it comes to insurance, when it comes to your deductibles, your claims, etc. So it also brings a lot more when it comes to the other side, when it comes to a disaster such as restoration. What I like to tie in is that background, knowing that I do have that knowledge, and it also helps customers understand when it comes to, opposed to getting a free quote and or immediately going in and filing a claim.
That's the biggest
Call
thing.
the experts first.
Yeah, that's the biggest
Do not file
thing.
a claim.
Right there. She just said it. Do not call the insurance company first. That's what everybody's trained to do. That's what they think they're supposed to do, but there's a good reason for it. Tell them why, real quick.
Because if you have a deductible, say if there's a water claim, your deductible is $5,000. Your water claim is, say if you do have something that needs to be repaired, fixed, it might only cost $1,500. That's documented already with the insurance company. You cannot take that away. So it's always good. The quotes are free. Get the quote first so that claim's not being carried out on you.
That number to call is 602-881-1398. They work statewide. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. It's DRYLUX.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're going to keep on going in here because we're live in the room. Okay.
Yep.
So kind of fun, right? That was perfect.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna, if you don't want to talk about it anymore, I think we should do is talk about rain and then talk about the story. We're doing good?
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Okay, good.
I think it's, you know what, it's the HVAC. I don't know if you're getting emails.
No.
You know,
Emails?
for your air conditioning.
I get a
it's that
lot
time
of different
season,
things, yeah.
or you need to check, which it's true because they should be checked. And if you think about, what do they call the swamp coolers?
Oh, yeah.
Up on top of a roof.
It's holding water.
It's holding water.
Yeah.
So there's just, I think as time goes too, the more I'm out there, I'm learning more, because you do not realize where all of these, you know, many
They're hidden.
disasters, they're hidden.
Right.
I mean, and that's what's weird. Somebody, I think we were talking, water will find a way.
Yes,
Water
water will find a way. We'll write that down.
Yeah, water, no matter what, will find a way. If there's a crack and crevice, it will find a way. And that's what's unfortunate, you know.
That's the way we're gonna talk about that.
That's with this gal's, her under the sink.
You know, what happens is that, especially when you have an old dishwasher, right? You do all of this work and you make it look all really pretty, but you keep the stuff because, you know, I've had it for a long time and you don't want to spend the money.
Right.
And something happens and then it ruins everything.
Yeah.
because water does, it moves.
Dry rot. Think of outside.
Yeah.
How my air conditioner's outside and I see that foam to where that that was on the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, that dry rots and it tears off.
Oh.
It crumbles off.
And dry rot happens a lot to people, right?
It does, but especially in this heat.
Oh.
Especially if you're not really using it or watching it all the time, and you go a couple years, and these are how, I mean, like I said, accidents happen. That it's just something that happens, and by that time, it's, you could have something leaking.
I think we should,
Because
honestly,
of certain things
I
like
think we
that.
should just really drive at them not to call your insurance company first. I think that is huge. Here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just talking about everybody out there right now. And we were just saying how we think that everybody should just know, please do not call your insurance company first. Everybody does that they just don't realize it, but what they're doing is they're starting a claim. And if you have a claim, they're gonna turn around and they're gonna probably raise your rates. It could even be that they drop you.
Their insurance companies, and it's being completely transparent, do not like water claims.
Mm.
Of course, no, there's not an insurance company that likes a claim. Unfortunately, everybody, every company
think
wants to have a
they're there
great
for
track
you.
record.
Mhm.
They are, and this is where I do understand both sides of that. But what a lot of the issues can come to play, it's when that consumer calls the insurance company. It's the first thing. I mean, the first thing you do, boom, I need to call my insurance company.
Mhm.
That's immediately documented. And I think if you have a quality company that will offer you a free quote to come and assess it first before that initial call is made, especially, a company that's been around, they're reputable, it's better to call to get that quote opposed to having it documented and you're taking the chance of, yes, having your rate go up, whether you file a claim or not, it's still gonna be documented. And also the other thing is companies, they're an insurance company, sometimes, once you do that, if they know there is a claim, you may be required to go with a license, sometimes handymans just do not work. I might be saying
And a
this the
lot of
wrong
times
way.
people do try and go around it, they do, but the best thing to do is to put this phone number in your phone under reputable restoration company and have it there, God forbid anything happens, call them first, get a free quote.
The quotes are free.
They're free, and if you find out that it's lower than your deductible, you're paying it anyway, so
Right.
why start a claim?
Right, and then you have the chance of it being on, it's gonna follow you. It's gonna follow you, that claim's gonna follow. But there are companies that, one or two claims, I think it's gonna go more into two, they're, sometimes you can not be insured by that company anymore, and they can drop you. There's guidelines for every company, but they do look at certain things, and then at that point, if you're re-shopping with another company, you're gonna be rated.
Oh, God.
Because you had a claim.
Well, I don't wanna be rated,
And that's
for
what's
God's sakes.
unfortunate, so call a reputable company, DRYLUX first, get the quote. The quotes are free. What I really admire about DRYLUX was I had an insurance company that did refer a client over to me, and we went out, the quote was free, and this gentleman's house settled, and there was cracks in the walls to where, we were flat out, we said, we're not gonna just tear out your wall, this is what we feel it is. There are many signs, we even went back and rechecked it, so it was fine, but we're not gonna just go in and start tearing out a wall. So that consumer, it's gonna cost more money and file a claim. You're gonna want, us to come out, give that quote, be honest about what's going on, what needs to be done. And that's actually two people that we went out and we looked at things that, they called me direct, and there wasn't anything to be filed. One person had already called his insurance company.
And that's what she's asking
So
you, Sam,
it's-
it's the best thing to do. She's
Right.
been in the insurance world for over 20 years, maybe more, I don't know,
24.
24
Yeah,
years. And so this is why she's here to talk to everybody and say to you, please, don't call your insurance company, get this free quote first, and then you can go from there, find out where you stand. DRYLUX has been around for 18 years, they're located in Gilbert, but they work statewide. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they do both residential and commercial, they bring quality, and they bring experience, and they bring the caring that you need at that time. Again, that phone number to call is 602-881-1398. We absolutely know that this isn't something you may not need right this second, but if you do, give them a call, or if you know somebody, tell them what you heard here. Also, put it in your phone, have it there so you know where it is. I want to talk about rain. It's raining, it's storming out now, and we're so excited about it, but you know what? Rain brings trouble.
Rain brings trouble because now's the time that you're really going to see, unfortunately, if there are issues, say for instance with your roof. You could have a cracked tile. Because the rain's coming in, you might have a cracked tile, for instance, it's going down your wall all of a sudden, and water finds a way, water will travel. If you think of an ant track, how they, but water will find a way to where, now you might see something in a wall to where there could be dark shadows. You might see that hazy color of a darker black. That is a good indication that there is some type of a leak, whether it's water or it could be a pipe because of, the rain coming in. There are a lot of things that can cause a leak.
You need to look.
You need to look, pay attention to those things. Odor, there can be an odor, musty. And we'd always talk about that because I made the mistake. There's always, if it doesn't look right, check it out.
It's
Look
probably.
The other thing is too, you can actually, if you see something with a wall, you can actually touch the wall. If you feel a wall soft,
That's big trouble.
because then you do have a lot of saturation.
Right.
But this is a time of year to where you're really gonna start to see that. And unfortunate flooding, if there's clogged drains, this could also cause it. That's, of course, you entail a plumber, but in some cases, unfortunately, can also tie in a restoration company.
You need to have it dried out. Let me explain to you something, that there's a special way to do certain things. And when it's, and you don't know what it is until you have it checked, and that's why the best thing for you to do, don't call your insurance company first, call DRYLUX, because you're gonna end up probably paying out of pocket no matter what. This way you will not start a claim, and that's what she's saying to everybody. Just get the free estimate first, and then you can go from there. The phone number is 602-881-1398. What was the story that you wanted to tell about earlier, that you had a girl that had an issue?
Oh, Friday, I had gotten a call. She actually, so under the sink, of course, you have your garbage disposal, and a lot of the home, you have the garbage disposal and you have a dishwasher next to it, to where she did not notice until it was, unfortunately for her, well after the fact, to where there was an issue with the disposal, tied in with a pipe because of the way the water came down. However, the plumbing was, it tied in the dishwasher, but she evidently had a leak to where not only did it go under the sink, but it went under all of the, under the surface with the cabinets, to where it affected the floor. So it was everything, and this poor thing, she was so upset and devastated. And, she was trying to explain what was going on. The plumber had gotten on the phone, and then he said, "This is what's going on, Teresa." And
But you came in and saved the day.
oh yeah, within minutes. I mean, it's getting that response, especially when you have something like that, because I completely understand where her mind was at, because now there's something invading her space. Her water had to be shut off. This had to be, taken care of immediately. So within 15 minutes, I already was on the phone with our dispatch, just following up and making sure that we are on our way out there. We needed to get this taken care of. The plumber did everything he could up to that point. Now it just really needed to be dried up. But like he said, this was going on for some time, so it's just in those instances, you're not always, especially if you have things under a sink, you're not always looking at that. But he had said, everything had to be taken out.
And a lot of people think that they can do these things on their own, so they'll like, well, I can just get my own air blower. Well, they're not the same.
And there's a chance of mold. And mold can be, it's bad.
If it's not done right,
If
it
it's
can get
not
even
done
worse.
Right, especially if there's any type of ventilation that ties in, if you have animals, your personal
And you yourself
health.
just recently had an issue?
Correct, yeah.
And who'd you call? DRYLUX.
You have to have it taken care of correctly.
Right.
I have, my dogs are my world, I have birds, but it can really affect your health and everything around you if it's not taken care of correctly. And, it can spread. The last thing you want is to where, you were not really on top of having it dried out by a company that has the experience to do it correctly.
Right, and that's what you want, somebody
Right.
who's gonna be reputable, someone who's gonna be there fast for you, which is what they do. Also, somebody who is gonna do it correctly, and that is the main thing. Don't try and do these things on your own. When it comes to your homes, when it comes to your pets, your loved ones, really needs to be done correctly, because when you don't, you cut corners. It ends up being that something else bad happens, and you end up having to call them anyway. So put the number in your phone under reputable restoration company located in Gilbert. They work statewide. They've been around for 18 years, and they really want, you see this blue, you know it's DRYLUX coming. And I'm telling you, they are here to help you, and you'll love the color blue when you have them work with you.
Absolutely.
Again, it is DRYLUX.com. They're both residential and commercial, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free in-home estimates. They're here to help you in any way they can. Put the number in your phone under reputable restoration. It is 602-881-1398. You don't want anything bad to happen, and this is the season. Whether it's gonna be rain, you've got, so that's water, you've got fire that could happen to anybody. Storms,
Right.
you've got hail, right?
Yeah.
Also, when wind goes, you've got, the roof could fly off the top of your house.
It's any, they
In
all are linked.
And you know what?
They all
You
are
don't, when you think of restoration, they want you to think of DRYLUX. Again, their number is 602-881-1398. Put the number in your phone, or if you know somebody that needs some help, tell them about it at 602-881-1398. It's DRYLUX.com.